Hey there, and welcome to season 3 of Pause and Rewind. I'm Neil, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm the host and producer of my podcast, which is very much created for everyone. As usual, I'll be chatting to changemakers, thought leaders, and role models who all share a common goal. They're striving to make the world a more inclusive place. And, let's face it, we need it. We'll be diving into the moments, the realisations and relationships in my guest's life that led them to where and who they are now. Because everyone loves an origin story. We'll be talking tales, anecdotes, and a little of what makes our guests tick. This is an 8-episode season going out during Pride season. And Pride really is a celebration of the LGBTQ+ community, but it's first and foremost a protest. Showing up has never been more important, and what we're seeing right now is the fight is definitely not over. Each of these guests has an amazing story when it comes to doing their own thing and how they're showing up in the world. And I'm so excited to shine a spotlight on their stories. So, with that in mind, are you ready to pause and rewind? Hey there, welcome to another episode of Pause and Rewind. It's the start of July, Pride season is well underway, and there are so many things to be proud of. I hope that whatever you're doing, you're able to tap into Pride, even though it feels quite challenging right now, as I've spoken about before. I'm super excited because this weekend I get to hang out with this week's guest on Pause and Rewind, and that is Darkwah. Darkwah is DJing for us at our collaboration with Club Soda for Pride in London, and Darkwah's hitting the decks for us there. And this conversation happened a few weeks ago, and I've just finished editing it. And yeah, it was just such a brilliant conversation with Darkwah. They are a multi-disciplinary artist, content creator, activist, and a true visionary with a love of passion of beauty, self-expression, and community. I met Darkwah fairly recently through my role as events director for Trans History Week, and I've loved getting to know them. And we go deep into Darkwah's origin story for this episode. And yeah, it was a really gorgeous chat. I just want to say there's so much to take away. There's so many deep reflections and wise words. But please do take care of yourself whilst listening. We do cover some challenging topics, specifically around mental health and suicidal thoughts. So if you need to take a step away, come back to it another time. But yeah, really excited to share this conversation with you. Let me know what you think. Here it is. Hey there, Darkwah. Welcome to Pause and Rewind. It is so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be able to talk to you.
Absolute pleasure. And I'd like to start with the question that I ask everyone. What does the world look like for Darkwah right now?
The world for Darkwah right now. The world for Darkwah looks like trying to understand why brands and businesses that have been such incredible allies are dropping like flies. The world for Darkwah looks like embracing the fact that they are non-monogamous in a healthy way with their partner and moving from strength to strength after having done a lot of healing. The world for Darkwah looks like trying to figure out what kind of food I want to eat in the transition period between spring and summer, although I could probably say that both of those seasons are non-existent. And the world for Darkwah looks like trying to find or create more time to do more things that I love while also needing to try and sleep more. It's complex, but it's fun.
It's complex and it's fun, and each one of those things represents the Darkwah that I've got to know over the last few months when it comes to getting to know you in person on social media, getting to know your profile and really buying into you as someone that's a multidisciplinary artist, a content producer, an activist, and the way you show up in the world. So all of those things say so much about you. Let's start with that frustration at businesses, and
Yeah.
that probably transcends to the world more generally, right? When it comes to our queer existence.
Yeah. Let's start with that. Where do I start? Can I swear here?
You can swear as much as you
I
fucking want.
want to know that it's space. Everyone that is dropping out of supporting Pride is a fucking coward.
Mm,
Um, and I want it to be known that I am saying that about everybody that is dropping support for Pride.
mm.
It is not about just shouting and rainbow fucking tagging your store windows or being like, oh, we're celebrating Pride. If you are not celebrating in the loud, proud, somewhat audacious, and in some cases obnoxious ways in which we're used to, you need to be smart about the way that you're showing up for the communities that you claim that you're an ally for. If you're not spending that budget that you had last year, that you could have had this year, if you haven't tried to find a way that you can keep that budget and give to community interest charities or like anything of the sort to actually bolster the fight against bigotry, transphobia, homophobia, like all of these things, if you're not actively doing that, you're a fucking coward. And I hope you make no profits this year or next year. Point blank, period.
On record. Noted. We put it out there.
And that's for everybody. I think
Yeah.
it is absolutely disgusting that because there are people who have no grip on reality or truth or integrity in positions of power around the world, that we are just like covertly scaling back on protecting and supporting different communities that actively need that support. I think we live in a world currently that values so much by way of like image and brand, but doesn't value integrity,
Yeah.
doesn't value human life. Like, for me personally, I cannot understand how anyone can go through the world being happy, knowing that someone else, just for the simple fact that they exist in the way that they do, they love the way in the way that they do, they dress in the way that they do, they speak in the way that they do, they walk in the way that they do, that you're okay with someone being persecuted for just existing.
Mm.
I think it's disgusting.
And when you call those people fucking cowards, I mean, you sit across many different areas, right? Whether it comes to content creation, fashion, art, media,
Yeah.
you're talking to all of those people,
I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to the brands that
corporates.
championed body positivity last year and the
Mm,
year before, and this year saw a return to super skinny models on the runway.
yeah,
You're a fucking coward. I'm talking to businesses, banks, whoever, who said that they were allies and actively trying to support the community and giving to causes, who this year we've heard nothing from on Pride. You're fucking cowards. Like, that's genuinely
yeah.
how I feel about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I hear the frustration. As someone that sits in the kind of like corporate DEI
Yeah.
side of things, but also very much kind of on the activism and advocacy side of things, it's so frustrating to see that support just fade away.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to be so bold as to even go further than frustration because I think frustration is a
Yeah, yeah,
way of saying that I'm annoyed, and I'm not
yeah,
annoyed, I'm enraged.
yeah, 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 yeah. Rage. We need rage right now. When
Yeah.
we think about Pride Month and what Pride is all about, being a protest,
Yeah.
we need rage.
I'm enraged. I'm enraged because I have a lot of love for my community, and it's not about just my community. It's not about me being singular and thinking only trans people, only non-binary people, whatever. Look, we all deserve rights. So shout the loudest for the dolls. Shout the loudest for the action figures. That's trans men because we leave them out a lot. Um, and shout loud for just like humanity. Shout
Mm.
loud for loving and caring and knowing that maybe in 3 generations, someone in your family might be trans. Maybe your best friend that you actually haven't spoken to for a couple of years is trans. And you're going to encounter them. Like, I don't know. I feel like I feel like we are in a climate where we are so desensitized to violence against people
Yeah.
that we don't even care to think about if that violence was visited upon our own who we love.
Because it's coming.
You know,
Hmm.
it is coming. Like, I can't remember what the poem was. It was first they came for
Yeah.
people, and then they came for these people, and then, yeah. I'm sorry, my mind is like all over the place.
That's okay. Let's focus on and I know and I don't want to detract from any of that because I'm sure it's going to come up again in the conversation. Um, Polyamory is something that you've been talking about a lot lately on socials, and you have I mean, you have talked about it in you style, right? The way you've presented it, the messaging behind it, and the joy that emanates from the way you've been talking about it as well. What's that been like for you in terms of that being a fairly new discovery?
Oh, my love, it's been hard. It's been hard because we are socialized
Mm,
to think that loving multiple people is bad because that's cheating. Because
yeah,
when it comes to cheating, there's no love in there. We're not talking about actually the experiences of each person. We're just talking about like, this is an act that is wrong because this is what society tells us is right. And so my journey with polyamory has also been one that's been of unpicking shame
mm,
or having feelings. Because that's just it, right? Like, you can be polyamorous, non-monogamous, whatever, and practice, like actively seek to create new relationships, or you can do that and just seek to understand yourself first, right? And because I had been socialized to think that even having those feelings was wrong, I didn't allow myself to explore. I didn't allow myself to explore the language. I didn't allow myself to explore and find people that I could speak to. And I think I've found so much joy in it because in diving so deeply into it, I realized that I actually operate my whole friendship group like a big polycule. And that's not because I'm getting with everyone. No, I have a partner,
I get it.
but it's really about valuing everyone's experiences and emotions the same, not putting one person above another, but rather being like, your emotions are valid, your emotions are valid, your feelings are valid. And where do I sit in being able to help you and help you? And where do I also sit in being able to help myself or support
Yeah.
myself?
And so much of that is driven by love
Yes.
and attention and affection and all those beautiful things that I don't know if it's a human thing, but it's a very much a British thing that we really overlook the importance and need for all of those. I do it all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember my relationship to relationships was always from a brand perspective.
Okay.
Like, oh my God, we're gonna look so good together. We're gonna do that together. And that's great. But as I was navigating that, I realized, okay, but like, do we actually connect?
Mm,
And maybe we do in the moment, but is there possibility or capability for us to grow together?
okay.
And when everything is just based on looks, based on how you look, based on what you look like when you're out, like, you don't think about the growth. And I'm thinking about the growth, and I realized I was thinking about the growth with my friends but not with my partners. So there was
Okay.
actually a level of connection, vulnerability, intimacy that I was giving to my friends that I was not giving to my partner at
So
all.
so interesting and really resonates actually with sometimes how I am being married and but the extra level of effort that I'll go to with friends, chosen family versus what I would sometimes put in with my husband because you do start to take people for granted.
Yes, you get used to it and you're like, okay, cool, well, I'm gonna come home, and if they're tired, then it's gonna be this. And if they're hungry, it's gonna be this. And if they're
Yeah.
sad, it's gonna be this. And we allow our brains to fall into patterns where we feel like we can predict everything around us.
Yeah.
Moment that we do that, that's when we lose our grip on reality, but also lose our connections with people
Yeah.
because we're no longer connecting with the person that's in front of us. We are connecting or interacting with the person that we've created in our mind.
Yes, 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 yes. I often talk to my husband. I'm like, did you genuinely think that that was going to be my reaction, or was that head nil? We call
Right.
it like, right. And actually, I often surprise him, and he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, because you've got head nil going on right now, and I've probably got head loss going on right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think that one of the best things that I have learned is not only to ask the question, what do you mean by that? Or what is your intention behind
Mm,
doing this? But also learning that the tone with which you inquire is super important.
so important.
Like I've been doing the work and the learning, quote unquote, right? Like I've been running around and being like, oh my God, yeah, okay, non-monogamous lifestyle. This is what you have to do. You have to ask questions all the time. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. It's fine knowing the skeleton of what that is. And you read about it and you're like, okay, fine.
Mm,
Yeah, I ask questions. Okay, cool. Even if I'm in a bad mood, I'm going to ask a question. But it's actually much more than just asking a question to communicate. It's considering the communication, considering when you're going to communicate, how, considering the environment that you are creating in order to communicate about this thing, and take
yeah,
all of the possibilities about the day that your partner may have had or that your friend may have had. And or lover may have had, and being able to allow yourself to express what you need to without placing an expectation on their response to what you're
mm,
expressing, because you can't predict what they're going to do. They can't predict what you're going to do. The most that you can do is say, this is how I feel. If you have
yeah,
an idea of the action that you want someone to take in order to make you feel better, of course, that's always good, because more options for discourse are so, so important and super healthy. But yeah, it's just really, I find that this journey of polyamory, non-monogamy, whatever we want to call it, however we want to talk about it, has been one of just learning actually how to communicate with myself
yeah. That's beautiful. Connection is so important, and I think but if you don't live that authentically, the lifestyle of polyamory, right? Because it is a choice, and I don't think it's for everyone. You can't just go through the motions. You have to be. If you're gonna do it, I think you have to be all in.
oh, honey, if you're going to do it, you have to be about it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
About it. And you have to be happy to call out your own hypocrisy.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, which we're all guilty of. And yeah, you're so right when you say looks can only take you so far. We all know sometimes that you can find someone so good looking, but you can pretty soon find them really fucking ugly as well.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. I, it's something that it's so weird, actually. Now I'm relating everything. I came out as non-binary and then struggled with the idea that I might be non-monogamous. Then finally came out with that to myself. And with every time I came out into like a deeper version of myself, I would also let go of a standard, quote unquote, or expectation that I had of someone or the person that I'm seeing. Or, oh, like, this standard, or they can only look like this, or they can only talk like this, they have to do this job. All of these kinds of things that we kind of like use to build up the idea of the perfect partner. And I just let all of that go, because in understanding that I'm non-binary, I understand that I can exist in any which way I want.
Yes.
Understanding that I'm non-monogamous, polyamorous, I understand that relationships can be whatever they want to be, so long as you have clear and open communication with all parties with whom you are involved. And in understanding that, it was like, I no longer have to live by any rules that make me or my relationship socially acceptable or
Yeah.
socially viable or whatever. Um, and I feel a lot freer for it. I feel a lot happier for it. I think I'm able to love people more for it. I'm able to see the beauty in people more as well. And I'm just so, so happy and very thankful also that my partner wanted to stay with me through all of that learning and many mistakes, might I add.
I mean, hey, they happen, and clearly the love is there. All of this is very, and I'm going to use the term on brand, and I know sometimes that sounds wanky, but I know you'll also get it. All of this is very on brand for you in terms of this self-exploration, really living it. You've said it yourself, doing the work. putting it out there, being vulnerable, it's also you and the way that you live your life so authentically and as you said, freely and with love. All of this speaks to the way that you show up through your art, through your messaging, through your, curated social media, but all of it feels very authentic.
Thank you. Thank you. That's something that I've struggled with a lot,
Mm.
actually. Um, I feel like from when I was like 18, I lived in a YMCA in Earl's Court for a little bit, because my queerness was not the one for the family home.
Hmm.
Um, when I lived there, I remember feeling really alone. And I remember waking up one morning and realizing that the reason I felt alone was because I wasn't telling anyone the truth.
Right.
If I felt bad, I wasn't telling them I felt bad. If I had no money for food, I wasn't telling them I had no money for food. If I was in love with someone, I wasn't telling them because I didn't even want them to come back to the room that I had in the YMCA. All of this stuff. And when I realized that all of my keeping myself to myself was distancing me from people, I said to myself, I will no longer lie to myself or anyone ever again. Now, did I not lie ever again? No, obviously not. I'm human. But I made that a thing that I was going to aim to do, to never lie to myself or anyone ever again. And that's actually why I have this tattoo on my neck, non nega l'amore, non nega l'amor, sorry, which is Napolitan, which is an Italian dialect, for don't deny love. And the reason that I chose to have don't deny love instead of speak the truth is because if love is at the core of everything that I do, and I desire to be honest and open with people, then my honesty is my showing love. And I put it on my throat because everything that I say, I want to be honest and true and will be honest and true. And when I look at myself in the morning, whether it's in a small round mirror on the wall on the way to the bathroom or in a full body one, without even having to raise my head, I can see don't deny love written across my throat, reminding me to always speak truthfully.
That's beautiful. And that beauty does transcend into your aesthetic as well. It is all very deliberate. It's very curated. It is very visually captivating in terms of how you communicate with people. Have you always had that love of things being beautiful and looking a certain way?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have. I think I got that love of things being beautiful and beauty from both of my parents and my grandparents, actually. My my dad is one of the foremost TV and radio presenters in Ghana and dare I say West Africa. Um,
Okay.
and he would produce, present, and direct the Miss Donna beauty pageants for I think it was like maybe 15, maybe 20 years he did that. Um, And so we knew what it was to stand properly and walk properly and pose and all of these things. And you internalize that stuff. And I think I managed to internalize it in such a way that it definitely showed up in toxic ways, especially when it came to like forming relationships, because, you know, I want to be with the prettiest. I want to be with this.
Mm.
Sometimes you don't even like the person so much, but you feel this like urge to tie yourself to this person or this thing or this place simply because it's beautiful. And I think I didn't find myself beautiful while for a long time, while I was also sticking to these rules. And when I came out as being non binary and I started to explore all of the different ways in which I could exist, I started to see that I was beautiful in so many other ways. And because I could see that I was beautiful in so many ways, I started to see that everybody else was beautiful. And I was just like, I just want to tell everybody that they're beautiful all the time. I want to make people feel like they're beautiful. That's why I loved styling so much. When I was at Gay Times and I was fashion editor there, all of the stories that I styled were projections of dreams, fantasies, hopes, and aspirations that I had for myself into the publication and onto the models, because I'm not 6 foot, and I'm not like built like an Adonis, but I'm also not, I don't identify as a man. So I'm not 5'10", and I don't have a svelte body. I don't look like Kate Moss or Angelina Jolie when she was doing Tomb Raider. I am this being that exists, however, and finding my beauty is not going to be in the standard of someone else's.
Mm.
Finding my beauty is finding and looking at all of the things that make me me and finding a way to love them. Um, and I think I learned that in playing around with clothing and ideas with my dad, funny enough. It was really weird because my dad didn't necessarily, I mean, look, didn't necessarily, that's a lie. He did not accept the fact that I am queer.
Okay.
Point blank, period. He now does. And we are in a very, very good place. And I think the reason he does is because I'm being myself authentically.
Yeah.
When I first came out, I was trying to give gay man. It was bald head, beard, skinny jeans, white t-shirt, Converses that destroyed my feet, and I still wore them anyway. Um, Also, I hope Converse actually does something about that. But by the by, that's how I existed, and it wasn't authentically me.
Mm.
It didn't feel comfortable for me, and it probably wasn't comfortable for him to, experience. I'm not
Yeah.
making any excuses for him because, like, you don't 86 your kid because they happen to exist in a different way that you do. But everybody's got a lesson to learn in this life. And I learned that I needed to be more authentic. And in being more authentic, also have hard conversations.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't like the fact that you said that. I don't like the fact that you did this. And stand up for myself and stand up for myself while stepping into myself.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what changed everything. That's how I can be authentic now. I feel like there's just no other way to exist. If I was to do anything else, I would probably feel or be sick.
Well, thank God that you don't try, because you are the Darkwah that people know and love, and that's why so many people admire, respect, love you in the community, because you are that person. So, don't ever try and be anything different. And you can't, but like you said, you can't. It's just not in you.
Physically could not. No
Physically,
matter
not.
how much filler, I'm gonna be the same.
Love it. I mean, there's other stuff that we could unpack about the weather and what you're choosing to eat, but we won't do that because I'm super excited to dive into your origin story and get to know those little moments, those realizations, and those relationships that led to the dark world we know now. Are you ready to pause and rewind?
Ooh, I guess so. Let's do it.
Here we go. Take me back. Tell me all about Little Darkwah.
Okay, well, Little Darkwah didn't identify as Darkwah. My first name is actually Kwaku. Darkwah is my middle name. Um, I was a really quiet kid. I enjoyed performing. I was really creative. I like to think I was a really quiet kid. I don't I don't know that my parents necessarily perceive me that way, but I think that's also just because I existed slightly differently.
Okay.
Um, I always felt a little bit soft. I was obsessed with Victoria Beckham. In fact, I begged my mother to buy me 5 Victoria Beckham dolls in the little black dress so I could remake the Spice Girls just with her because she is the blueprint for a lot of my attitude, I think. Um, I remember always choosing to do something after school. Always an after school activity, always a dance group or a sport group or whatever. And I think at first I thought I just wanted to. And when I got to secondary school, I think I realized that it was because I didn't want to go home.
Okay.
Um, my dad is a wonderful, wonderful man. He has taught me so much. And literally, without him being my dad, I don't think I would have had the foundations for anything that I am able to do so confidently and comfortably right now, including styling. I
Mhm.
remember he would make us put together outfits and be like, "You can't do a brown belt with black shoes. Change that." You know, if it's a suit jacket that's if it's a suit jacket that's double breasted with brass buttons, you're gonna call that a blazer because HMS Blazer, British Navy, all of this kind. Like I have all of that information because of him. However, he was also raised in a way that was very West African and straightforward.
Mhm.
And him being the firstborn child of my grandfather and my dad's side being a royal lineage meant that there was a lot of tradition. And the simple way in which I existed broke that tradition. So there was already a little bit of friction there. So I didn't want to go home simply because I didn't want to exist in a space where I felt like the way in which I existed was wrong.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and that really sucked. Uh, Little Darkwah also. I've also recently, I told you, I shared this with you, started on my sobriety journey. January 17th was the day that I started this year. And in like recent weeks, I was spending time with my sister. Sorry, I have many side quests, by the way, in
I'm here for them.
call it the neurodivergence. But I was speaking to my sister a couple of weeks ago, and she was joking about times that I would get so drunk when I was younger. And I saw one video of myself, and I was like, wow, it's not even funny. I
Mm.
was sad looking at myself because I I would run away into these delusions of grandeur so that I could excuse reckless behavior. Oh,
Okay.
I'm so cool. I'm so fab. I'm working in this club and I'm taking all of these people and I'm hosting this celebrity this day and blah, blah. And I was doing all of that. But while I was doing that, I was trying to, I guess, act out like the Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie fantasy
Mm.
when they were like the party girls. And we all now know that when celebs are party girls, they're not party girls. It's good publicity and PR.
Yeah.
Unless of course they have an actual problem, because I'm not discounting that. Um, but yeah, I looked back at it and it made me feel really sad. And I remember I started drinking when I was 13. I
Yeah.
thought I was super sophisticated and really chic, but looking back, I was not doing so well for myself.
Yeah.
And me as a young person, I think I was trying to find a way to exist that was acceptable to me while also feeling like I had to run away from everything that I had.
Have you been able to have some challenging conversations with your dad now that you do have a good relationship? Is the relationship one where is it still testy? Are you able to go and revisit some of those things and say, hey, this is what I needed, but this is what I didn't have?
I think as much as I might like to sometimes, we also have to be considerate of everyone's capabilities.
Mm.
And that's not to say that my dad is not capable.
Mm.
I have to be considerate of my capabilities.
Yeah.
A lot. And it would be lovely to have that conversation. But having that conversation, am I ready to go back into all of that?
Right. Yeah.
Am
Yeah.
I ready also to sit and maybe be responded to in a way that doesn't necessarily give me what I need? Have
Yeah.
I been able to let go of the expectations that I may have having a conversation like that in order to have it anyway? And the truth is, no, I haven't.
Right. Fair. So why rock the boat, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 I get it. And sometimes you never I think it's inevitable. You're not always going to get the answer you're looking for anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, taking it back to Little Darkwah, is there a favorite memory or anecdote that you'd like to share from being a kid?
Oh my God, I think I just shared it on my Instagram, but like that doesn't matter because it's one of the most vivid memories I have from being a really young kid. I think I was 4 or 5. I was in my grandmother's bedroom and I had gotten some scarves of hers and like tied them so they kind of sat on my head, but they didn't really properly. And I was just jumping up and down on the bed while looking in the mirror. And as I was going up and down, I would see the scarves like moving, and I felt like Ariel underwater. You know how her hair
Yes.
flourishes, and I felt like, you know, just all of these like beautiful women figures that I had known or seen or whatever. And it just, whenever I think of that, it just makes me feel really whole because I think at that age, I was fully tapping into myself.
Yeah.
And I think I always seek to fully tap into myself now because of that memory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful memory as well, and very visual. Again, very, very you, very, very visual and colorful and free, and yeah.
Thank you. I've been told I sound a lot like ChatGPT when I try to describe things, but that's because I want to take people places. Okay, so
No, yeah, I mean, you do take people on a journey. You're a storyteller, Darkwah. You're a storyteller through your fashion, through your words, through the visual nature in the way that you do things. Um, Talk to me about Little Darkwah and what you were like at school.
ooh, okay. Well, lots of different people will tell you lots of different things.
Okay.
I had many versions of myself that I reserved or displayed for different kinds of people.
Was it an assimilation thing, a protection thing? What do you think it was?
I think I don't think that it was assimilation. I don't think it was protection. I think it was escapism.
Okay.
I made all of those choices knowing that I wanted to run away,
Yeah.
like just everything. Um, and there were loads of good things too. I'm not painting my life out to be like, oh my God, it was so depressing.
No.
Incredible things. But I did not ever feel safe fully giving all of myself. So there were always little bits that were hidden. I I remember having a conversation with my dad when I was younger. He was like, "You do too much when you're at people's birthday parties," and I was like, "What does that mean?" Because I
Mm.
love to dance. Oh my god, it's like my soul speaking. And he was like, "You dance too fast and too hard, and this, that, and the other." And like, while the first time I heard it, I didn't like it. He also then explained it to me the second time, and he was like, "Listen, if you go like that to someone's birthday party, no one will ever want to invite you to their birthday party because you're taking their moment away from them."
Okay.
And I understood that in a way because I understood my moment being taken away from me a lot.
Mm.
My moment to be fully myself, to be fully excited, to be fully in love with something, to fully enjoy playing with dolls, or fully dive into pretending to be a performer on stage while my sister's toys are all sitting down, as the people that are in the concert, or fully diving into the fantasy of being like a preacher at a mega church, just so I could still have that feeling of being on stage. And anytime someone walked into the room when I was doing something like that, I felt like my moment was being taken away from me. Like my moment to just be myself was being taken away from me. And so I, in that, allowed, I worked with my dad for a little bit. And whenever
Mm.
we'd have parties or something, like he would always be behind the DJ booth because my uncle is a DJ. And so he was usually doing the mixing and stuff. And my dad was MCing. So he was on the mic, which is also where I guess I get all of my MCing and stuff from. Um, and my dad would just like make a little S with his finger just quickly. And that would be my signal to move slower.
Okay.
And then if I really liked a song and he knew I liked a song and I knew I liked a song, he would just do like a quick F and I'd be able to like go all out. Um, in school, I think I struggled giving all of myself because I was scared that all of myself would make people not like me. So at that moment, that beautiful synergy that my dad and I had in the slow
Yeah.
dancing, fast dancing, in one context made perfect sense for me, but I didn't know how to apply it in others. So I would just show bits of myself to different people. And that created a lot of problems for me. And probably a lot of problems for my friends as well, because I think after secondary school, I loved all of my friends and my friends all loved me, but we just didn't stay close for a while.
Mm,
In the past like 5, 7 years, we've gotten close again. And I have
yeah,
so many of the people that were around me in secondary school, actively around me, that were like looking at starting businesses together, looking at wanting to create together, or just hanging out and reconnecting
yeah.
with each other's families.
Was there a part of your intersectional layers that you felt you maybe toned down more than others,
I think
depending on the group?
I think I've always existed really loudly. I definitely know that my queerness was something that I hid.
Hmm.
I dated so many girls.
Okay.
And like I think at that time I was doing it because I felt like I should.
Hmm.
Now, in understanding my gender identity and my sexuality and stuff, I think I identify as pansexual.
Yep.
So it's more just if I vibe with you, if I like you, then yes. But I think the queerness was definitely something that I hid. I had some teachers, though, who I was 100% myself with. And those people got all of me. I felt very uncomfortable giving all of me to kids
Yeah. Okay.
or
Where
people.
did you grow up?
Where did I grow up?
Mm.
Everywhere. Mostly London, though.
Yeah.
There was a period where we were back and forth as my parents were divorcing, but I am, for all intents and purposes, a Londoner through and through.
Yeah.
Also, I don't fully remember all of the different places that we moved to because I think just like different, to be perfectly honest, I think that my brain tried to forget.
Yeah. Fair.
You know, you lock up little bits of yourself. I remember there's sometimes in secondary school that like sometimes in therapy get really unlocked.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. As queer kids, secondary school, tough.
Secondary school was hardcore. I was friends with all of my teachers though, which was cool.
Yeah. Was there a protection there?
100%. There was a protection. Also, there was strategy. I grew up with a dad who taught me about strategy.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
If I align myself with certain people, then I'm at less risk for things. So, yes, I was on school council and the school nutrition action group. And I was on the athletics team and in the choir. I did all of these things. And I aligned myself with all of the faculty so that I could also be a little bit of a bitch, to be perfect.
Okay. Fair.
Um, and that's because I was angry that I couldn't be myself.
Yeah.
So I made sure I had everybody on side. So if I had to be a nasty little witch, I could.
It
Um,
sounds like there's so much at play there in terms of kind of, the strategic side of things, the leaning into aligning with people side of things, probably the neurodivergent side of things in terms of the variety and level of interest. And I see that in myself now in terms of how much I get involved with. I was exactly the same as you. So there's probably a lot of different factors at play there.
yeah, so many, so many that I'm still learning to recognize today.
Yeah, yeah, because for me, it's been a case of sometimes picking apart the people pleasing from some of those things as well.
Yeah, oh my God, let's talk about people pleasing for a second. Like growing up West African,
Mm,
you're instilled, a sense of duty is instilled into you.
yeah,
So it's very much like, okay, this is your job, this is your role, this is what you're supposed to do. You cannot deviate from it. You cannot make mistakes. There's world and world and worlds amounts of pressure on your shoulders. Don't fuck it up, basically. Like, how do you not fuck it up when you have that much pressure?
yeah. What choice did you choose to just say, I'm being me? Against that, against your cultural background, what point did you say, "But I choose me" against all of that?
I chose that after I chose that after contemplating killing myself
Okay.
on multiple occasions. Um, I tried to run away unsuccessfully. And one evening, I think it was at Warwick Avenue tube station because I'd finished with like choir rehearsals or something,
How old were you here?
15.
Okay.
And I went to the tube station. I didn't need to take the tube, I could have walked home. I went to the tube station and I sat on the platform and I just watched trains go by. And I just, I felt horrible. I felt like I don't have anyone. I don't think anyone really gets me. And then I was like, fuck, like if I die, I can't like get up tomorrow. And that thought was like, okay, well, you don't want to die then.
Mm.
Um, and I guess like once I had said that, I used to joke. I would joke actually a lot of the time. I was like, I'm too vain to kill myself. Um, Genuinely, that's actually what I said. You can ask my aunt Ruby. So many times to her. I was like, I'm too vain to kill myself, so I guess I just have to continue going. And it then changed from I'm too vain to kill myself, so I guess I just have to continue going to what would be the point of ending my life? It was a journey in valuing myself, you know, and I did that first from a standpoint of ego and being like, oh, I'm too vain to kill myself. Because it's also like quite a fab chic thing to say at a party when you're a bit drunk. And look, I'm not gonna lie, like, like it's call it macabre, but like definitely a bit fab and a bit chic. Like I'm definitely too vain to kill myself. It would never happen. You say it in that same flippant way.
Mm.
And you then also slowly become trapped by the vanity that you claim to have. And I didn't like that. I didn't like being seen as vain. So I changed the narrative for myself.
Yeah.
I changed it and I was like, I'm too much of a coward to kill myself. And then I didn't like that narrative after a while. I was like, I'm not a coward because I'm doing lots of cool, brave shit. And so it became, I have too much shit to do to kill myself.
Okay.
And,
That is, it's
go right the way back around to that sense of duty.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess I would love to know at what point you stopped running, stopped wanting to run away,
Oh my God.
either from yourself or your home life. And you said that, at 18 being in the YMCA and having moments of realization.
Yeah. Do you know what? If I'm perfectly honest, I don't think it's fair to attribute it to a choice that I made.
Okay.
I was just kind of stopped in my tracks a little bit. And it was from something completely different. Like I lived in a house in like Stoke Newington with a couple of friends. And over the course of the time that we lived there, those friends became like mortal enemies. I don't know how. Resulted in me almost getting in a physical altercation with one of them, and then no longer feeling comfortable in the home in which I lived first.
Mm,
So I needed to move. And so I moved. And in moving, I felt like, oh shit, like a lot of my stability and comfort is gone. Like I moved also into my own place, which was lovely. I was no longer sharing with people. But it was still kind of like, oh shit, like I'm a bit on my own. Like I have to rebuild this. I have to rebuild this
yeah.
sense of stability and community around me. How do I do that? Where do I begin? And I guess in just trying to authentically build community, I also stopped running.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have the feeling that like next week I want to shave my head, call myself Kevin, move to Barcelona and be like a fitness instructor. Like I get that. So I have that urge. There's so much sexual tension between me and like running away and living in a
Mm,
because it's also exhausting existing authentically in a world that claims to value authenticity, but at every turn of that authenticity being revealed, asks it to politely put itself in the box that it was given.
yeah. So is it community that helps you keep that urge at bay? What is it that keeps, or is it your ability to reframe the narrative on a dime? Like what do you think it is?
It's definitely community.
Yeah.
I love community. There's nothing I love more than spontaneously inviting loads of friends over to my house, cooking for them, and just talking for hours. There's nothing that I love more than that because it just reminds you why you exist to
Mm.
experience things.
Yeah.
It reminds you that there is so much more beyond your comprehension and perception of the world. And
Yeah.
that's what I really enjoy. I think I'm a student of the universe. That's how I like to think of myself. I'm a student of the universe. And I want to learn all the time. And I can learn by reading books, but I can also learn by interacting with people who have other experiences that they can share with me.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to take it, speaking of learning as a teenager, what did you think the goal was in terms of career and what did early career look like?
I thought I was going to be a fashion designer.
Hmm.
Thought I was going to be a fashion designer, but I don't have the patience to French seam anything or hem anything. So then I thought I was going to make money in some way and then pump it into a fashion business. I didn't have 100% clear goals because the things that I had as dreams were not necessarily always valued. My dad wanted me to be a hedge fund manager or a lawyer, and I went along with it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to be a hedge fund manager. I'm going to make so much money. Yeah, numbers and math. Like, no, I didn't want to do that whatsoever. I don't want to manage other people's money. I can barely manage my own. Um, and so I just wanted to create. And I think my parents will say that they were worried that I had no aim, but my aim was just to experience life. I can't
Yeah,
say that 100% for back then because that's attributing a lot more wisdom to myself than I actually had. But my aim was to experience life. I wanted to do everything before I chose.
yeah,
I remember being 13 and thinking, "Oh, Judaism," and I read as much as I could on that. As much as a 13-year-old with a short attention span will. I'm not became like a rabbi or anything. And then I was like, okay, Islam. My grandfather's Muslim. Let me read about that. Christianity. I've kind of been forced into that my whole life, but let me just interrogate that a little bit more. Buddhism. Let's see what that's like. And none of it gelled. Didn't like any of it. And I didn't like it because I didn't want to subscribe to something. I still
mm,
wanted to be me. And so I happened upon this book that my dad had in the house, The Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt. And I read it and I reread it and I reread it. And that became my, not religion, my spirituality. Nothing in
yeah,
this world is good or bad, only thinking makes it so. That is one of the quotes that I've taken from that. And now I have it tattooed on my body. And it's from Shakespeare's Hamlet. I believe Polonius's advice to Laertes. Nothing in this world is good or bad. Only thinking makes it so. And at 19, in the YMCA, standing and looking in a mirror, telling myself I'm going to be honest with everyone, while knowing I have no money in my bank account, that my job seeker's allowance is not going to be as much because back in those days, you had to like sign and say all
mm,
the job interviews that you had gone to and stuff. And I just hadn't done any of the work. Knowing all of that, I had to tell myself with no food and no money and what felt at the time like no family, nothing in this world is good or bad. Only thinking makes it so. And so I chose what to think about. And I chose to think about the things that I was going to do. I would fall into the wildest daydreams, visions, whatever, of how I could exist, what I could be doing in the future. Everything from being a fashion editor of publication to being on TV to performing in stadiums to people. And every single one of those dreams has found its way to reality in some way. I was a fashion
yeah,
editor at Zero Magazine, which is an online publication that was started by one of my best friends. Then from there, contributed to Fashion Glossary UK, and then became fashion editor at Gay Times. I I've done a few little TV things behind the scenes and in front of the camera.
And your first movie recently.
Yes, and my first movie. That's crazy. Um, and performing at the gay games to like a 3,000 seater stadium, and doing a 30-minute set on the first night, then the second night, and then closing the whole thing. Like wild, you know?
With looking back at how where you've th those more challenging times and that conversation of looking in the mirror, right, and being and having that conversation through to now, how do you feel about happiness and success? Because for all intents and purposes, you're living and achieving your good dreams and you're creating.
Yeah,
And for someone that maybe wasn't sure that they wanted to do, I always talk about this in terms of I'm not the most strategic person, but that doesn't mean I'm not ambitious.
yeah.
How does happiness and success look and feel to you now?
Happiness looks like falling asleep at a normal time. It looks like creating when I feel like creating. It looks like waking up in the morning and FaceTiming your best friend to tell them that you love them.
So cute.
It's tickling my partner and annoying them while they're in bed. Yeah. Um,
And success?
Success is having wonderful relationships with people, having a really, really great relationship with my boss and co-collaborator and co-conspirator.
Brilliant.
Is being able to help the people that I love,
Yeah.
being able to give to the people that I love.
And thinking about the people in your love, is there someone who shaped you the most along the way?
Someone who shaped me the most along the way. Do you know, it's going to sound really, really cheesy, but actually, my partner,
How
mine,
long have you been together?
it's going to be 3 years on the 9th of June.
Okay, coming up.
And until I met Dom, I was wild. And I haven't lost any of that wilderness. I have learned how to use it when I need it instead of using it as a coping mechanism. When I met Dom, I would work flat out for ages, find myself super frustrated, and then go on like a bender. It could be like a 2 day one, it could be 5 days, it could be 2 weeks. Like, and I would just do that. And then I would vanish for 3 days after that bender, live in complete darkness, then get up and be like, you know that oh my god, it was Legally Blonde when she's like working out and learning and they play that song, getting hot now, ready for the knockout, and I won't stop till I'm on top now. That was how I deluded myself into thinking that this pattern of overworking, burnout, self-destruction, and reemergence was okay.
Okay,
Because
I
I
hear that.
found a way to like identify with the good in something. I think that's also one of my superpowers. I see the good in everything. But my partner, Dom, has really shown me how to be honest with myself about the things that I want, the things that I need, and the things that I feel. They're Neapolitan, Southern Italian. It's all feeling, it's all emotion and energy and sfogare. And sfogare is like venting, you know.
Okay.
And sfogare is like blowing wind. Blowing wind is what it was. Sfogare. But yeah, venting. And yeah, they've shaped me the most because I love me and they love me and I loved me back then too, but they're showing me that some of the ways in which I treated myself were not loving to myself.
Okay.
And because of them, I've been able to be still. Because of them, I reflect a little more. And because of them, all of my friends will tell you that I'm softer to the touch. When I say softer to the touch, I mean emotionally. We're not,
Yeah.
not just feeling up on each other here.
Not everyone.
Yeah. Not everybody. Not everybody. Okay.
My final question for this segment is this. Looking back so far, what are you most proud of to date?
I am most proud of not compromising any of my beliefs for a check. I say that because there are so many times in my existence where it would have been easier to be a palatable, cis, gay, black man who does a little
Mm,
bit femme. And that isn't necessarily directly for a check, but people knowing how to categorize you
yeah.
straight away makes things easier, right? I am most proud of being the most unapologetic, palatably, unpalatably palatable person. And yeah, I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of being too much. I am so proud of being too queer. I am so proud of being too femme, too black, too activisty, too preachy, too excitable. I am just so proud of being so me.
The House of Happiness is London's ultimate sober clubbing extravaganza. We're led and delivered but created for all, whether teetotal, sober curious, or just taking a booze snooze. We love a day raid, and on a Saturday afternoon you can expect banging house tunes, DJs on decks, dancers on podiums, and a fully stocked alcohol-free bar. Flamboyant, bold, with a glitter station to boot. We're all about safe, inclusive fun, and we even have a pre-meet so that you can make new sober buddies before you hit the dance floor. Grab your tickets from Instagram now at House of Happiness Official, and we'll see you on the dance floor. Are you ready for some quickfire questions?
Quick fire, let's go.
Here we go. What album, book, or movie has had a lasting impact on you?
Britney Spears in the zone.
Yeah? What
Touch,
about it?
touch of my hand. Those like East Asian sounding strings. I mean, listen, it could also be Middle Eastern, I don't know. But those East Asian sounding strings, the way that she's talking about loving herself. Touch of my hand, track 8 on Britney Spears in the zone. Like, changed my life forever. I'm not ashamed of the things that I dream. I find myself flirting on the verge of obscene. Into the unknown, I will be bold, going to the places I can be out of control. That is tattooed on my heart forever. Britney Jean Spears, the Sagittarius queen that you are. Thank you. I hope.
A lot of love for Britney here.
Yeah, 100%, honey.
What's a saying you live by and one that you put in the bin?
A saying that I live by, nothing in this world or is good or bad, only thinking makes it so. A saying that I would put in the bin, maybe.
Okay.
Just the word maybe.
Is it just a bit meh?
Like, listen, I understand if you're nonplussed about something, you don't care either way, but maybe doesn't say anything. Maybe doesn't
Okay.
say, I don't care either way, you make the decision. Maybe says maybe. Maybe stops the conversation and starts me guessing. All
Okay.
so bin maybe. Thank you.
Bin maybe. And as a neurodivergent person, the guessing side of things is not fun.
Oh, honey, let me tell you.
Yeah, not fun. What's been the best adventure of your life so far?
So many great adventures. Okay, I'm gonna give a couple.
Yeah.
Adventures of my life so far. Going to Hong Kong to do the gay games, and then going back to Hong Kong afterwards to do my own solo show. Um, Next is working at Wanda Tattoo. It has been an exercise in knowing myself, in being able to think about myself. Wanda, my boss, is a Taurus, and she's the most Taurusy Taurus there is. And I'm a Scorpio. We're sister signs. We give to each other the opposite of like what we are, right? I seem really luxe and like, ooh, gorge and all of this stuff. But I'm a really down to brass tacks kind of.
Yeah.
I don't like spending money on myself too much. I'd rather spend my money on other people. I just like living. I'm like, I know how to make money, I'll make money. I'm a creative, I'll create. Like that's what makes me happy. I don't really care about these things. And Wanda has taught me how to value myself by giving to myself, not just by having value for myself. And so that's been really, really wonderful. Also, being part of Wanda Tattoo and being able to get tattoos has been such a hugely gender affirming process. You know, like I recently tattooed chrysanthemums, the November flower, because everything on my body has to do with the fact that I'm a Scorpio and I'm November born. Uh, I recently tattooed chrysanthemums on my nipples because when I take off my top in public, I'm instantly perceived as a man. Despite how beautiful my face is, despite the earrings that I wear, whatever, I'm perceived as a man. And that's also because men can have their nipples out in public. And I don't always want to be wearing a little bralette, you know? I love that, but it's not every day. Sometimes I want to have my skin, but still feel like my skin is mine, not what others perceive.
Okay.
So by obscuring my nipples, by putting flowers around them, it feels like I'm censoring my nipples in the same way that women's nipples are censored, while also still allowing me to have agency over my body and feel comfortable outside because people will look at me and do a double take because they're trying to figure that out. And I
Yep.
want people to double take. I don't want to be ever considered as just a man. I want you to question. And that's beautiful. I don't think there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with questioning.
Yeah. Because it's on your it's yours. It's
I
yours.
consent to your questioning,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
it's yeah. And the tattoos are beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
What three words would you use to describe you and your origin story?
Oh, wait, three words for both me and my origin story?
Yeah, it's got to sum it all up.
This is not fair. Quick fire? Okay, fine. I would say effervescent, emotional, eventful. Yeah. I
I
also
love
felt charmed when I was younger, so I like things that are in threes to also begin with the same letter. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I love the is it alliteration? I think I like the boom 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 nature of it. Let's fast forward a little bit. What exciting things do you have coming up?
What exciting things do I have coming up? I am DJing at the House of Happiness on the 14th of
Yes, you are.
June, which I'm really excited about. And then right after that, I'm getting in a car and going to Luton Pride to perform.
Amazing.
Um,
Amazing.
I am going to be DJing an after party at Ole Festival in Lithuania later in June as well. On the 28th of June, I am playing Community Festival in Antwerp.
This is so cool.
Crazy. What else do I have coming up? On the 19th of July, my partner, Dom, and I are kind of launching our personal empowerment program called Grow Your Glow. And we're doing this with Blossom LGBT. We are putting together a program. It's going to be 3 hours where people can come and we're going to talk all things personal style, self care, self love, while also deconstructing the idea that clothing is binary and helping people step fully into their authentic selves. Now, it sounds like a soup, but I promise you it's going to be beautiful, wonderful, empowering, and enlightening. Everything that I want to do and everything that I ever do is about making sure that people can see the light in themselves.
Yeah.
About me. I may be on stage performing, but I write my lyrics for those who are listening and also as a reminder to myself about things. And so I'm so excited to be doing this with Dom because part of our relationship has been helping each other see the light in each other and the beauty in each other. And so I think it's really exciting to know that like we've actually already been doing this. We've been styling different people in different areas, which you'll see on Instagram, I guess. Um,
So that sounds amazing and amazing to support with Blossom. And again, you step up and you support organizations, Trans History Week, Blossom,
yeah.
yeah. I know that community brings you a lot of joy, but what else brings you joy?
Sitting in silence in a dark room after a long day of work in order to be able to decompress and
Yeah,
like bring myself down from the inevitable overstimulation that you have when you're speaking to loads of people.
yeah.
Um, cooking brings me so much joy.
What's on the menu when you're cooking for friends?
Ooh, okay. I would do chicken two or three types of ways. We'll have like a boneless thigh fillet that we're gonna slice up, throw in some corn flour and a little bit of seasoning. We're gonna lightly fry in some rapeseed oil. Those are the tenders. Well, we're gonna fry them, then we're gonna put them in the air fryer. So it's like really nice.
Oh,
We'll do my famous, now famous, according to me, orange chicken, which is like a cap of oyster sauce, 2 cups of gluten-free soy sauce, two freshly squeezed oranges, and then just like the chicken sitting in it. And you like snap it with a fork lots of times so the juice gets all the way
okay.
through. I would then make potatoes two types of ways. I never used to like potatoes, but I'm really digging potatoes right now. Baby potatoes that I would just lightly fry but with the lid on, so you're kind of like sweating them and they become really
Mm,
soft and fluffy. Then you throw them in the fryer so they can crisp. And then I would also do like a mashed sweet potato. I love making my own chili jams and sauces, so those would also be there. Some tender stem broccoli with some cracked rainbow pepper on it. Like a little salad. I don't like a typical salad. I like watercress, some rocket with a little bit of balsamic glaze, maybe throw some pomegranate jewels in there.
I'm seeing lots of color and I'm seeing a beautiful presentation in how you present as well.
Percent, baby. I'm
Always.
going to WhatsApp you a picture of breakfast that I made on Sunday.
Okay. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Do you have any takeaways, some practical takeaways for anyone listening, wanting to maybe not so much carve out a career in inclusion, but create something inclusive, whether that's a brand, an event, whatever.
I would say assess your space immediately around you and see how inclusive that is. Assess your language, see how inclusive that is. Assess the ways in which you think about and speak about issues in and around your people and see if that's inclusive. It's really great to get like starting advice to like go out into the world and do
Mm,
and do and do. That's great. What we are not encouraged to do enough is do some internal work as well while that's
yeah.
all happening. So, everybody on Instagram and their mom and their personal trainer and their life coach is going to tell you, just get up, go do it. And I'm going to say, yes, just get up and go do it. But while you're doing it, think about the why behind why
Yeah,
you're
yeah. So important.
understand your why. Like, listen, if your why is just because you want to get famous, that's okay. Do that with your full chest. But if you know that your why is more than just getting famous or lots of followers or getting free stuff from PR companies, act like it.
Yeah. Solid advice.
No one is saying you can't be out here just for the check. You can't secure the bag. You can, but don't pretend to anybody else that that's not what you're doing.
Oosh. Darkwah, my final question for you is this. Do you have any words of encouragement or wisdom for anyone out there to help them get to wherever they're going?
Words of encouragement or wisdom to anyone out there to help them get where they're going,
Wherever they're going.
wherever they're going, wherever they're going. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's really important. I would say keep going. Keep going and value every step you take, even when you step on a thorn. Because the moment that you step on the thorn, you've also learned to look down and make sure that there's no more thorns in your way. Understand that everything that you are going through and everything that you are experiencing, no matter how many other people experience it in the world, is unique to you. And so speak with yourself, commune with yourself, give to yourself, understand and learn yourself, and continue to learn yourself. Don't ever let yourself get caught up in the idea that this is who I am and that's it. Like, we are living, breathing organisms. As I'm talking to you now, there are going to be parts of my skin that are completely different from other parts because maybe the amount of friction that's happened as I've leaned and changing positions. And so those skin cells are gone. We're always changing. And change is one of the three constants of life. I'm sure there's more constants of life, but there's three that I can instantly think of: change, taxes, and death. Those are three things that are always going to show up when there's life. You're going to pay tax, shit's going to change, and there's going to be death around. If you live, you die. And so, what I would say is embrace all change. Embrace it. As it seems like the ground is falling out from beneath you, understand that maybe you were walking in a canopy that was a little bit too high. And this needed to happen so you could have more stable footing, so you could find that bough or branch that you could actually sit on and observe the world. Know that everything that you want to do can be done because so long as you are alive, you can. That's what I would say.
Wow. Thank you so, so much. I've got chills. Thank you for being a guest on Pause and Rewind and taking time out to share you with listeners, with myself. Like, I really, really, really look to your content for that beauty, those thought-provoking insights that you share, and just you. And I'm really, really grateful for the way you show up.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I hope to see you soon
Yeah,
at the House of Happiness.
see you on the House of Happiness. I mean, that's going to be really fun.
It was indeed a lot of fun having Darkwah DJ at the House of Happiness for our Sober as Fuck Pride Party. And again, you can catch Darkwah on the decks at the House of Happiness and Club Soda collaboration this Saturday at Pride in London from 5 p.m. till 9 p.m. But the conversation at hand, wow. I did say that it was full of lots of gold nuggets and things to take away, and it really, really was. Everything from, the quote that Darkwah lives by, which is nothing in this world is good or bad, only think it makes it so. And how they really honed in on that moment where they decided to stop running away, and the way that they reframed their narrative when they decided that they wanted to live, they wanted to be here, and they reframed that narrative around "I'm too vain to die" versus and through to I've got too many things to do to die, and they're here and they're showing up in the most authentic, beautiful and real way. And it's brilliant to see Darkwah shine, whether that's on stage performing, whether it's on the decks, whether it's sharing their journey around polyamory. The three words that they use to describe their origin story: effervescent, emotional, and eventful, can really, really see all of those things bursting through as Darkwah shares their story. And yeah, just going through, all of that comes from not ever feeling safe enough to give all of themselves through to the dark world that we know now. Their love of community, so, so, so beautiful. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode, Darkwah. Thank you so much for being such a brilliant open book for this conversation and as you go through life. Can't wait to see more from you. Please do like, subscribe, share this conversation. Let's take these stories out there, get them out to people. They deserve to be heard, seen, and celebrated. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for more amazing guests on Pause and Rewind. Cheers.